Daredevil vs. Green Arrow. Urban warriors face off. An aerial view descends upon a bustling metropolis at night. Skyscrapers pierce the sky, streets pulsing with life below. Shadows stretch long, and a faint siren echoes in the distance. In the intricate maze of urban sprawl, where justice is a flickering street lamp and shadows cloak both predator and prey, two figures emerge from the abyss. They are the silent guardians, the watchers on the walls, Daredevil and Green Arrow. What happens when the man without fear crosses paths with the Emerald Archer? Tonight, we embark on an expert-level analysis, dissecting every facet of their abilities, strategies, and the variables that could tip the scales in their hypothetical showdown. Buckle up, because this isn't just a clash, it's a convergence of legends. Daredevil. Matt Murdock's odyssey begins with sacrifice. At 9 years old, attempting a selfless act, he's blinded by radioactive waste, a tragic event that paradoxically amplifies his remaining senses to superhuman levels. This hypersensory perception aligns with synesthetic phenomena, where cross-wiring in the brain creates heightened sensory experiences. Guided by the enigmatic mentor Stick, a member of the ancient order known as the Chaste, Matt masters martial arts disciplines ranging from ninjutsu to Krav Maga. His dual life as a lawyer by day and vigilante by night embodies the dichotomy of justice, legal by the books, and justice served raw in the streets of Hell's Kitchen. Green Arrow. Oliver Queen's crucible is one of isolation and survival. Stranded on Lian Yu, he endures 5 years of relentless trials. Exposed to harsh environments and deadly adversaries like Yao Fei and Shado, he evolves from a privileged scion into a hardened warrior. His skill set expands to include not just archery but tactics, espionage, and guerrilla warfare, parallel to real-world survival training and special forces operations. Upon his return to Star City, Oliver leverages his company's resources, Queen Industries' cutting-edge tech divisions, to build his arsenal. His mission transcends personal vendetta. It's a calculated campaign against systemic corruption, mirroring socio-political movements that challenge the status quo. Daredevil's abilities. Matt's radar sense is a form of echolocation, akin to that of bats or dolphins, allowing him to construct a detailed spatial map of his surroundings. His auditory acuity is so refined he can detect changes in air currents, effectively perceiving objects in motion, an application of advanced auditory processing. His combat style integrates augmentations from various martial arts, optimized for efficiency and lethality. He employs pressure point strikes derived from dim mak techniques and utilizes joint locks from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. His agility tests the limits of human biomechanics, with feats like quadruple somersaults and parkour maneuvers executed flawlessly. The Billy Club, crafted with a steel alloy core and impact-resistant polymers, features a built-in grappling hook with a tensile strength capable of supporting over 400 pounds. Its design reflects a deep understanding of materials science and mechanical engineering. Green Arrow's abilities. Oliver's proficiency with the bow is not merely skill but an art form. His ability to calculate trajectory, wind speed, and target movement in real time demonstrates cognitive processing speed at the upper percentile of human capability. Trained by elite combatants, including former members of the League of Assassins, Green Arrow's hand-to-hand combat skills encompass Kenjutsu, Sambo, and Sistema. His strategic approach often involves psychological warfare, disrupting opponents' focus, a tactic studied in military psychological operations. His quiver is a testament to technological innovation. The EMP arrow emits an electromagnetic pulse with a radius adjustable up to 50 meters, capable of disabling complex electronic systems, a practical application of electromagnetic theory. The nanite arrow releases microscopic robots programmed for specific tasks, reflecting advancements in nanotechnology. Daredevil's fighting style. Daredevil's approach to combat leverages stealth and surprise. He utilizes echolocation to navigate environments unseen, minimizing noise and presence, a practical application of stealth tactics employed by special operations forces. His strikes are calculated to disable opponents swiftly, targeting neural clusters and muscle groups to induce temporary paralysis. His environmental adaptability allows him to exploit structural weaknesses in his surroundings. Whether it's creating improvised weapons or triggering environmental hazards, He turns every setting into a tactical advantage. Green Arrow's fighting style. Green Arrow operates with a stratagem reminiscent of chess grandmasters, several moves ahead. His use of ranged attacks forces opponents into reactive positions. He employs cover, elevation, and line-of-sight obstructions to control the battlefield, a nod to principles in ballistics and field tactics. He often combines his arrow types in sequence, for instance, using a flashbang arrow to disorient followed by a net arrow for capture, demonstrating complex operational planning and quick adaptability. Daredevil. Strengths. Daredevil's sensory capabilities function beyond normal human thresholds. His olfactory sense can detect changes in pheromones, aiding in identifying emotional states, an application relevant to fields like neuromarketing and behavioral analysis. His proprioception is so refined that it borders on precognition in combat scenarios. Weaknesses. However, his reliance on heightened senses introduces vulnerabilities. Sudden sensory overload can incapacitate him, akin to those experienced in sensory overload disorders. Opponents skilled in creating sensory distractions can exploit this to their advantage. Green Arrow. Strengths. His ingenuity and access to resources enable constant technological advancement. He's proficient in hacking, surveillance, and counterintelligence. His psychological resilience, forged through isolation and trauma, grants him a high threshold for stress, paralleling training undergone by elite military personnel. Weaknesses. Equipment dependency can be a significant liability. In scenarios where his technology is neutralized, through EMPs or supply constraints, he must rely solely on physical prowess. Moreover, his personal connections often pose risks, as adversaries target his allies and assets. The setting. An orchestrated convergence draws both heroes to a massive industrial complex, an abandoned shipyard rife with containers, cranes, and obstructed sightlines. The perfect playground for a high-stakes encounter. Initial encounter. Misinformation plants seeds of hostility. Both believe the other is an assassin sent to derail their respective missions. Their initial exchange is cautious, probing for weaknesses. Battle progression. An arrow streaks towards Daredevil, who deflects it midair with his billy club. Daredevil closes the distance rapidly, aware that prolonging at range favors his opponent. Green Arrow, recognizing the threat, deploys a concussion arrow. Pressure waves disrupt Daredevil's equilibrium, a calculated exploitation of his acute senses. The environment becomes a chessboard. Daredevil navigating through narrow passages, Green Arrow repositioning to maintain distance. Both adapt strategically. Daredevil uses the echoes of machinery to mask his movements, while Green Arrow employs motion sensors and remote detonated traps, integrating technology to compensate for Daredevil's sensory edge. Head-to-head comparison. From a biomechanical standpoint, both exhibit superior muscle endurance and motor coordination. Daredevil's reaction time places him in the top 0.01% of human capabilities, while Green Arrow's precision under duress is indicative of extreme fine motor control. In equipment, Green Arrow's versatility outmatches Daredevil's minimalist arsenal. However, the simplicity of Daredevil's tools eliminates reliance on failing technologies, a strategic simplicity. Strategic approaches. Daredevil's methods are rooted in improvisation and exploiting immediate environmental factors. Green Arrow employs premeditated tactics, often with contingency plans, a contrast between adaptive spontaneity and calculated strategy. Variables such as time of day affect Daredevil minimally, while environmental control devices like sound dampeners or sonic disruptors can significantly impact him. Green Arrow's effectiveness can diminish in technology-compromised zones or when facing opponents impervious to his standard arsenal. Scenario 1. Daredevil triumphs. By exploiting his sensory edge, Daredevil anticipates Green Arrow's attacks, using misdirection and deceptive tactics to close the gap. In close combat, Daredevil's superior skill leads to a decisive victory. Scenario 2. Green Arrow prevails. Utilizing his understanding of sonic frequencies, Green Arrow employs tools specifically designed to overwhelm Daredevil's senses. Maintaining distance, he capitalizes on ranged attacks to incapacitate his opponent. Scenario 3. Stalemate or team up. Realizing they've been maneuvered into conflict by external forces, they set aside differences. Their combined expertise proves formidable against shared adversaries, highlighting the potential of collaborative synergy. Community opinions. Expert forums and online think tanks present diverse views. Some argue Daredevil's sensory advantages are insurmountable, citing instances where he's bested metahumans. Others counter that Green Arrow's strategic mind and resourcefulness have allowed him to defeat foes like Deathstroke, whose abilities rival or exceed Daredevil's. Past crossovers and references. While official crossovers like Marvel vs. DC have teased such encounters, fan-made content often fills the gaps. Comparative analyses draw parallels with battles like Daredevil vs. Taskmaster and Green Arrow vs. Prometheus, providing hypothetical data points. Summary of analysis. Our exploration reveals a complex tapestry of skill sets and tactical philosophies. Daredevil's reliance on heightened senses and close-quarters dominance contrasts sharply with Green Arrow's technological reliance and distance-based strategies. Final thoughts. In a confrontation between these urban titans, context is king. Environmental conditions, prior knowledge, and preparedness tilt the scales. The intricacies of such a battle defy a simple verdict. It's a scenario rich with variables and ripe for endless debate. Call to action. The dialogue doesn't end here. We invite you, our expert community, to weigh in. Share your analyses, cite canonical evidence, and let's dissect this matchup further in the comments below. Thank you message. We appreciate your time and engagement in this deep dive. Your passion for nuanced discussions drives us to push the boundaries of analysis. Channel promotion. If this content resonates with your intellectual appetite, consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. We delve into complex character studies and hypothetical scenarios that challenge conventional thinking. Social media and engagement. Join our growing community on social media. Follow us on Twitter for real-time updates, Instagram for exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and join our subreddit for in-depth discussions. Links are in the description. Team recognition. A special thanks to our team of researchers, graphic artists, and sound engineers, the unsung heroes behind the scenes who bring these analyses to life. Sources. References include Daredevil, issues number 1 to 612, Green Arrow, comics from the Silver Age to the Rebirth era, scholarly articles on sensory augmentation, tactical combat manuals, and interviews with comic industry veterans. Legal disclaimer. All intellectual properties mentioned are the respective trademarks of Marvel Comics and DC Comics. This content is protected under fair use for the purposes of critique and education.